All right. So just want to quick check that everybody can see the document that I'm sharing. So it's just the agenda for today. Can everyone see that okay? Okay, I'm seeing a couple nods. So our first item of business is just the approval of the minutes from the April 12th, 2019 annual business meeting, which took place in Deadwood, South Dakota. It was also simulcast via Zoom. These minutes are embedded within today's agenda, and I'll go ahead and share that document now. And I'll give you a few minutes to just take a look and read through it. All right, are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Feel free to unmute yourself if you have any. All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the April 12th meeting?
So moved.
All right, I hear that Haley moves. Can I get a second?
Joe, this is Jordan Bay. I'll second that.
Second. All right, all those in favor say aye or thumbs up.
Aye.
All right, all opposed, nay or thumbs down. So the minutes are approved. All right. Anna is letting me know that she is just joining us. Next, we have the treasurer's report, which is kind of something she'll present on here shortly. So I think what we'll do is kind of start moving into our partner organization reports, and then when Anna joins us, we can backtrack a little bit to the treasurer's report. So the first report is SDSHP.
Joe, I'm here if you need me to do it.
Oh, thank you, Anna. Thanks for letting me know.
I finally got on.
Yeah, no worries. Can you see the document okay, Anna?
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. That looks a lot better.
Okay, I'll turn it over to you then.
Okay, I was meaning to look at this before today and it didn't happen. So you guys can all see the account balances there. I don't know if anybody has any glaring questions right off the bat here. We added a couple line items. We added the grant. There's a resident grant now that has been added. And as well as we have an SDAPT conference sponsorship that was added this year. And then I think those were the only two things that were added. The other thing I wanted to point out was the delegate travel looked a little bit higher this year than normal, but I think that was the one where we sent 2 delegates this year. We don't usually do that. So that went up a little high. And then our annual meeting, we made a little bit less than we were hoping to due to the fact that we had the snowstorm last year. So we've had 2 rough annual meetings in a row, but hopefully we can recover from that. But those were the main things I wanted to highlight. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions about it.
Okay, if no questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report or the budget summary as stated.
So moved. This is Haley.
Thank you, Haley. A second?
This is Rose, second.
All right, all those in favor, aye or thumbs up?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay or thumbs down? All right, treasurer's report is approved. All right, so we'll start moving through some of our partner organization reports. So the first one we have was submitted from SDPHA. I did not get confirmation from Amanda Bacon that she would be on the call today. So I believe the report is just there if you would like to read from it at your leisure. And so that's Appendix 1. Next, we have the Board of Pharmacy report with Carrie. Carrie, are you on the call? Okay, I don't believe she is. Okay, so that one is also as submitted in Appendix 2. And then third, we have the SDSU College of Pharmacy and Allied Health Professions report. I believe I did see Jane on the call.
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect.
Great. And you have the report, you know, it's fairly extensive. I'll let you read over that. I will just provide a little update in response to the COVID pandemic, we made the conversion to online instruction. So we extended our spring break another week, and during that time, faculty worked really hard, formed groups, a lot of faculty development things going on, and they made that transition to online instruction beginning March 23rd. So that was wonderful, and compliments to the students who, you know, were very professional and really took it in stride. So that was a somewhat monumental conversion that went fairly smoothly. There's always bumps in the road, but I really commend everyone with their hard work on that. And we made some lab conversions. There were some things we had to shift to the fall, but overall we were able to make that change. And then the experiential compliments to Jody Hines and Jim Clem for all the work they did in getting that experiential schedule put together. Also with the online, Teresa Seafelt, Dan Hansen, they all really worked hard to make that happen. So all of our P4s will graduate on time. We're really excited about that, and that has worked out. So ACPE gave us some flexibility that allowed us to do things they would otherwise not, and we were able to pull that together. So again, the report is attached, and I just again want to compliment the faculty and students and the staff for all their hard work and making that transition.
All right, thank you, Jane, for providing that update. All right, next we have the ASHP delegate report. This was submitted by the 2 SDSHP delegates that attended the delegate report, or the delegate session, excuse me, Andrea Dar as well as Jacqueline Chin. And so Andrea is with us, and so I'll turn it over to her to add any comments.
All right, well, the report was submitted just as it was provided from ASHP. So there were a few things that were new this year in terms of looking at suicide prevention and intimidating or disruptive behavior as kind of new topics this year that are really more environmentally focused. What word am I looking for? Anyway, they both are in there. There's one I think that has come into use recently, the emergency supplies of drug products. You know, that's basically to advocate that during emergency situations that you're able to provide whatever the patient would need. And so ASHP has been advocating for these policies and procedure or policies during this time, and some of them have actually come to use. I think the thing that really took the most time by the group, hours and hours, was the therapeutic use of cannabidiol. And that's in there in quite an abbreviated form compared to what was proposed by different groups at different times. And that, you see that? Yeah, so it's on, yep, starts, the title is on one page and the remainder's on the next. So it's very, very short, but basically the controversy was over using, you know, whether there was any role for approving certain products that were legal in some states, but yet not in others. And so that's where we've gotten into kind of a tangle where some felt that it's really not appropriate to advocate for things that are not even legal in your state. So more to come probably this year on that as things continue to change. And that is not something that will die anytime soon, just because it'll be ever changing what they would like advocated, I think. I think otherwise everything is available through ASHP in terms of the background information, some of the conversation that was had, you know, the supporting documentation for why the councils would have proposed this and what things maybe were done during the delegate meetings to change them. Are there any questions from the group?
All right, hearing none. Thank you, Andrea, for providing that update.
You're welcome.
Scroll back up to the top. So sorry for giving anyone whiplash there. Next, we have our student report from SSHP President Alyssa Bashi.
All right, so as Joe mentioned, I'm the current SSHP president at South Dakota State University, and I just wanted to point out that students have accomplished many great things this year with the restructuring of the ASP into the SCAP format at SDSU. It has allowed more exposure to these national organizations. And so we've had increased membership in the ASHP national membership from students. Throughout the year, 2 residency showcases were held, one in Sioux Falls, one in Brookings, both of which were very well attended. Specifically, the one in Sioux Falls had over 10 residency program directors in attendance, and that included every residency program in South Dakota. And then we had the highest student attendance in this event to date. And directors just went through kind of what they look for, you know, in successful residency candidates, and then talked to students about specifics of their program. The event in Brookings was a presentation by Dr. Emily Van Kloppenberg, and that just more so outlined to kind of P1s and P2 students what they can do through each year of pharmacy school to prepare themselves to be successful residency candidates. Let's see. In fall, we had Dr. Brad Lively come speak at an SD or SCAP meeting, just to kind of promote the field of ID pharmacy and just kind of let students know what they can do if they were interested in that career path. And then we collaborated again with the Brookings Hospital to provide hospital tours for pre-pharmacy students, P1s and P2s who had not yet had any exposure to hospital, to see kind of what a hospital pharmacist would do on a daily basis. In fall, Hannah Brookmeyer and Trevor Treglia won our ASHP clinical skills competition and represented our chapter at the national competition at ASHP mid-year. And then this spring, as we all know, has been changed due to COVID-19. We were able to get our CV and cover letter event on earlier this semester, which just had some residents from Rivera come in and tell P3 students what they can do to kind of boost up their CV and cover letter as they approach applying for residencies. We were going to host ASHP President-elect Dr. Tom Johnson for an SCAP meeting, but had to cancel with the situation. And we have been in contact with him about rescheduling that for the fall. And then SCAP was also awarded a grant, a Generation RX grant, that would go towards programs to combat the opioid crisis, kind of educate college students about opioid misuse and abuse. And that I have not heard how we'll get to use that grant, but SSHP will be having a big role in that in a future date, and the incoming president, Dustin, will kind of head that project. And yeah, I think that is about it. Like I said, we've done a lot of things, and we continue to look forward, kind of molding students into successful future pharmacists in the health system setting. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Alyssa. Are there any questions for Alyssa? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on. Thanks. Our next report is the resident report, and this will be done, I think I saw Kaya on the call. She is our SDSHP resident liaison. Or maybe she dropped.
To report thus far. However, we did do our residency conference again. This is our annual conference that's held in Chamberlain every year in July for the incoming residents to kind of network, get to hear different topics regarding either research or kind of anything that they may come up against throughout their residency year, and how to kind of interact, and then they get to interact with other residents across the state. It was very well attended, and there was really great feedback from all of that. So we are looking at what we need to do for next year, this coming July, but with all the COVID concerns right now, we are kind of treading that territory carefully, and we will update the membership as needed. We also did some SPFs that were held via virtual across the state, and different residents presented different presentations and kind of CE. So that was well attended, as well as we did do some CE HOTS kind of weekend information sessions where different residents provided CE to different people in both Sioux Falls and Rapid City, and those were both well attended. One did have a snowstorm, but it still had quite a few people in attendance, so that's great to hear. We'll be looking to continue SPF next year as well. for residents. But that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Kaya. Our educational efforts just tend to attract snowstorms, don't they? Any questions for Kaya while she's on the call? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our technician report. This is attached in Appendix 6, or excuse me, Appendix 7. And Jody Starrett is our technician liaison and also a very active member of SDAPT. I don't believe I saw her on the call. Jody, are you on the call right now? Okay. Hearing not, feel free to review her report as submitted. And then we'll move on to the president's report. So I just want to start by saying thank you to the 2019-2020 Board of Directors for their dedication during the past year. I've really enjoyed working with all of you to affect change within health system pharmacy throughout the state. And a very special thank you to our outgoing board members, including Erin Larson, Anna Delzer, Rose Fitzgerald, and Alyssa Bishi. You've all made an incredible impact on SDSHP and its members. And finally, I'd just like to extend my sincere gratitude for all SDSHP members who volunteered on our various committees. Thanks for your commitment to SDSHP. The activities that we do would not be possible without your dedication and hard work. So the full President report is attached on Appendix 8. I'd encourage you to read through it and all the great things that our various committees have been doing, but I did want to highlight a few things. So regarding our strategic plan, SDSHP enjoyed another productive year wherein our strategic plan was devised and then carried out quite successfully. This year, we completed numerous tasks pertaining to our 5 major goals, which this year were to advance pharmacy practice in acute and ambulatory settings, to advocate for changes in laws, regulations, and standards that improve patient care, to increase member engagement and satisfaction, to maintain effective and energized governance, and then to effectively leverage technology solutions to enhance our operational status. For next year, one area that the SDSHP Board of Directors is interested in pursuing further is expanding its catalog of CE for pharmacists and technicians and providing that through a digital medium, both real-time and asynchronous is what we're looking at. With events like COVID-19 and snowstorms impeding our in-person our events, it's clear to us that bolstering our digital offerings would add significant value to our members. So we have a few key partnerships to make to facilitate this, but please stay tuned as we work toward this effort over the upcoming year. Let me highlight some of our other successes this year, first with the SDSHP Resident Grant Program. So SDSHP is pleased to have awarded our first grant for the SDSHP Resident Grant Program. Each year, residents at a PGY1 or PGY2 program within South Dakota are eligible to apply. The funding is to be used to carry out a project that aligns with the goals of SDSHP. This year, the grant was awarded to a team from Monument Health in Rapid City. The team consisted of Spencer Lehman, a PGY2 in oncology, Alyssa Larson, a PGY2 in critical care, John Kappas and Jan Lowe, both RPDs of those respective programs. Their project aims to enhance patient care and pharmacist knowledge through the creation of short, approximately 5-minute, pre-recorded clinical pearls to be shared with the institution and with SDSHP members. So at this time, I just wanted to preview their website that they created and share actually one of the clinical pearls from their team. So excuse me as I try to navigate this so you guys can see it. All right, so hopefully you guys are seeing the website right now. Anyone give me a quick thumbs up or just a nod so I can confirm? Great. And so this is not the final product necessarily, but it is kind of the idea that we're looking for, just a repository of these different clinical pearls that have been developed. And I did want to share with you today one that Alyssa Larson, the PGY2 in critical care, developed about vancomycin trough to AUC monitoring.
We'll cover vancomycin monitoring and the transition from trough only monitoring to monitoring of the AUC or area under the curve. Briefly, vancomycin is a glycopeptide antibiotic, and it's been FDA approved now for more than 5 decades. Vancomycin is used mainly for broad spectrum gram-positive coverage, especially of more resistant microorganisms such as methicillin-resistant Staph aureus. The main side effect I want to pull out is nephrotoxicity, and this generally occurs when vancomycin is used at higher doses. So when we target a trough of 15 to 20, when vancomycin is used for a long period of time, or when the patient is also receiving other nephrotoxic medications such as piperacillin tazobactam. You're all familiar with vancomycin trough-only monitoring, as this is really what we've done in recent years. Target a trough anywhere from 10 to 20, but typically 15 to 20 when we're using vanco for more severe infections. We wait until steady state to check the trough, so before the 3rd to 5th dose. And then based on that, we adjust our dose accordingly. And this really represents where practice will be changing, as we will have new guidelines released shortly that will recommend switching from trough monitoring to monitoring of the area under the curve to minimum inhibitory concentration ratio. So taking a bigger look at what this exactly means, we know that antibiotics in general each have a pharmacodynamic parameter that predicts their effectiveness. So for some antibiotics, like our aminoglycosides and our quinolones, we want to target a high peak. On the other hand, for our beta-lactams, we want to keep the concentration above the MIC for as long as we can. And that provides the justification for why we give Zosyn as an extended infusion. Vancomycin, on the other hand, doesn't really quite fit either of these. It's going to be AUC above MIC dependent, meaning that really we're looking at overall exposure to vancomycin. We're shooting for an AUC above MIC of 400 to 600, and this is over a 24-hour period. Briefly want to touch on a couple of assumptions that we make with the AUC to MIC monitoring. And the first is that this is really specifically being used for Staph aureus, so it doesn't really apply to other types of bacteria. The second is that we're assuming that the minimum inhibitory concentration of the Staph species is 1 to vancomycin. In most cases, that's going to be true, but just kind of keep in the back of your mind that there can be cases where the MIC creeps up. So if we see a higher MIC of 2, indicating more vancomycin resistance, as you can imagine, it's going to be a lot harder to achieve an adequate AUC above MIC ratio. So a key point to know in those cases is that typically we'll end up switching patients to an alternative like linezolid or daptomycin once we see that susceptibility and an MIC of 2 to vanco. Now, how are we actually going to carry out the AUC monitoring? There are a couple of different ways. The one that I want to focus on for the purpose of this clinical pearl is peak and trough concentrations, because this is primarily what we'll be using. We can check a peak 1 to 2 hours following the end of our vanco infusion, and then we'll continue trough monitoring, and this will allow us to extrapolate the area under the curve. Again, we want 400 to 600, and we don't want to push the AUC too high because that increases our risk of causing acute kidney injury. Just like trough monitoring, this will be done at steady state. We can either do it within a dosing interval or for practicality, more often than not, we're doing this around 1 dose since we don't have to wait as long between levels. So in summary, practice will be changing from trough-only monitoring to monitoring of both the peak and the trough with vancomycin. And this will allow for estimation of the area under the curve, which we know is a better predictor of vancomycin effectiveness and toxicity as well. And then kind of the kicker here is that we're finding that those lower trough values of 10 to 15 actually tend to produce an AUC within our goal range. So when we targeted those higher troughs of 15 to 20 in recent years, we were probably exposing patients to more vanco than they needed and predisposing them to more acute kidney injury as a result. And that summarizes my first clinical pearl. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, and thanks for listening.
All right. So congratulations to Monument Health on your receipt of this grant funding and the production of this great finished product. These clinical pearls will enhance pharmacist knowledge and improve patient care statewide is our intent. So we look forward to sharing more details on how to access these regardless of your location with our membership in the coming weeks. So based on this superb start, we really look forward to what next year's offering has to bring. Moving on into legislative efforts, SDSHP board member Chance Wacholtz has served as our legislative liaison this year, in addition to his duties as secretary. In this position, Chance has done a great job of serving as a contact point not only between SDSHP and SDPHA, but also between ASHP and SDSHP. So we would like to thank Chance and several leaders in SDPHA for keeping our board of directors up to date on pertinent legislation at both the state and national level. This year, SDSHP, in partnership with SDPHA, has advocated on several key efforts ranging from the national level with the Mitigating Emergency Drug Shortages Act, down to the state level with proposed legislation reversing mandated vaccinations among school-age children. So these efforts ensure that our membership's voices have a forum as well as an impact. Next, we'll move into the corporate sponsorship document. This is located in Appendix 9. SDSHP this year also drafted this corporate sponsorship document, which incentivizes sustained partnerships and strengthens key relationships with drug companies, health systems, and other invested organizations. With this document, our intent is to solicit kind of ongoing financial support from partner organizations, and in return, intend to recognize that support during our events on our website with membership or with free memberships throughout the year and other ways with our members. Ideally, doing so will provide a durable, predictable, and mutually beneficial channel of support. This document, like I said, is at Appendix 9 or attached there. Please take a moment to browse through it. And it has been approved by the board of directors, but we would welcome any comments that may help us strengthen the implementation process. We intended to kind of launch this program with this year's annual conference in close proximity to our partners, but we'll have to roll it out over the course of the next year. So please stay tuned for how this evolves. And then just some of my concluding remarks for the President's report. Following the SDSHP annual conference, or annual meeting, I should say, our board of directors will be engaged in a strategic planning session. So please reach out either by chat or just a quick email or text if you have any ideas for us to incorporate into next year's strategic plan. Once we approve that final document, we will post it to our website and it'll be available for your review, and we'll also mail it out so you can look at it. And then finally, I'd just like to thank the membership of SDSHP for giving me the opportunity to serve as your president over the course of the past year. Definitely has come with substantial personal and professional growth, remarkable opportunities, and humbling experiences alike. So SDSHP will continue to serve pharmacists and technicians next year under the excellent leadership of Haley Allen. So with that, we'll move into old business, of which there is none. So then we'll move straight into new business, starting with our discussion of PAI 2030. So ASHP has formally unveiled their next iteration of the pharmacy, or of the practice advancement initiative, excuse me, which they have branded as PAI 2030. So let me go ahead and try to share that with you guys. So PAI 2030 includes 59 recommendations for health systems and states to achieve in the coming decade in order to provide optimal, safe, and effective medication use. So I've attached them in Appendix 10, but I've also got it shared on the screen here, so you can review some of the recommendations that are listed. The broad themes for change are optimizing patient care via pharmacist-provided comprehensive med management, to advance the technician role, to harness data to improve patient health, to integrate pharmacy enterprise for convenient and cost-effective care, to adopt personalized targeted therapies, and public health opportunities and social determinants, chronic illness, and addiction. So the 59 recommendations are listed here and are kind of broken down into those various themes that I just discussed. As of right now, I did want to note that there is no grant funding or research support available from ASHP quite yet. They state that throughout 2020, ASHP and the foundation will release resources, tools, and funding for the implementation of PAI 2030. This, of course, may be delayed even further due to the onset of the COVID-19 situation. But at this time, I did want to open it up to membership for a discussion or kind of a question of which of these themes or recommendations would you like to see SDSHP pursue, or which are most salient for our state and our way of pharmacy practice? And are there any groundwork steps that you would like us to see to take in the coming year to help achieve these goals? So I know this is new information being shown to you, but any discussion of which ones you see as most applicable to our state and our way of practice? All right, hearing none right now, I would just encourage membership that if you review this document and do see something that you think that we could help implement or help be a good steward of information, please let us know and we'd be happy to consider that. All right, next we will move into our awards announcements. So I wanted to briefly recognize our thwarted award recipients who were supposed to be recognized at this year's annual conference. But they will be, to adequately highlight their accomplishments, we felt that recognizing them in front of the full body of membership next year would be the most appropriate course of action. However, I still wanted to announce today, just so it is public information, who those recipients were, and we'll also update our records and our website just so everyone can see. So the first one that I wanted to recognize is the Gary Carl Lecture Award winner. And by the way, we do have the privilege of having Gary Carl on the call, I see right now. So thanks for joining us, Gary. The winner of the award this year is Doug Smith of Sanford Health. So remember that our Gary Carl Lecture Award winner is the highest lifetime achievement honor that SDSHP gives. So Doug Smith, we look forward to hearing all about his thoughts in his lecture next year. The Pharmacist of the Year award went to Krista Sarvis of the VA Black Hills Healthcare System here at Fort Meade, South Dakota. The Technician of the Year award is going to be awarded to Sandy Olson of the Brookings Health System, and she also helps in quite a bit with the South Dakota State University College of Pharmacy. The SDSHP scholarship, which is just a financial scholarship we give to a College of Pharmacy student at SDSU, went to Andy Clayton. And Gary Van Riper was there to kind of support us in recognizing Andy. The clinical skills competition winners, I believe Alyssa highlighted this earlier during her report, were Hannah Brokemeyer and Trevor Treglia. These students, SDSHP helps pay for their travel to the national level so they can compete at the ASHP mid-year clinical meeting. Our students SSHP award, goes to Alyssa Beshi. She's awarded, this goes to the outgoing president of the SDSU chapter of SSHP. And then the SDAPT Technician Scholarships Awards were given to Caitlin Davis and Margaret Swenson. So congratulations to all of our award winners. Again, we look forward to next year to formally recognizing them in front of everybody, but we will update our website and our information channels at this time. And then our last item of business on the agenda is the installation of new officers. So at this point, I will turn it over to kind of our MC for this part of the event, Tad Helwig.
Okay, it looks like I'm unmuted now, so I hope everything is going good and everybody can hear me. So, well, first of all, thank you, Joe, for inviting me to do this part. It is my honor and privilege to install the slate of officers that have been elected by the South Dakota Society of Health System Pharmacists. So at this time, I would like to call your attention to each of the officer positions. And I have seen a lot of them are online. So first of all, we'll start off with the past president, Joe Berenzis. We'll have the president, Haley Allen, president-elect, Jeremy Daniel, secretary, Chance Wacholtz, treasurer, Kaya Warzecki, board member at large, Stephanie Iverson, Board member at large, Jordan Bay. Technician member, Jody Sterrett. Student liaison, Dustin Moon. And student liaison, Emma Smith. So you have all been duly elected to your office in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of the South Dakota Society of Health System Pharmacists. I now have the honor to act as the Society's representative to install you as the new officers for 2020-2021. So at this time, I'll let you maybe unmute yourself and we'll see how well this goes over Zoom and how well in sync you guys can all be.
Good luck, everyone.
So will all board members present please raise your right hand and repeat the following oath after me. I accept the office to which I have been duly elected.
I accept the office to which I have been duly elected.
And promise to carry out my duties.
And promise to carry out my duties.
Fully and faithfully to the best of my ability.
Fully and faithfully to the best of my ability.
And to abide by and support.
And to abide by and support.
The Constitution and bylaws.
The Constitution and bylaws.
Of the South Dakota Society of Health System Pharmacists.
Of the South Dakota Society of Health System Pharmacists.
I now declare you duly installed officers for SDSHP. I extend my best wishes for a year of growth and success of achieving all of your goals. And that went by very well on that. So thank you all for participating.
All right, thank you, Tad, for doing that. So that concludes the new business portion of the business meeting. Is there any other business that membership would like to bring up to discuss today? Oh, yeah, I am being notified that Carrie from the Board of Pharmacy, I think you've joined us. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity if you wanted to speak to membership about your report from the Board of Pharmacy or any other updates that you had at this time.
Okay, I just unmuted myself, if you can hear me.
Yep.
Honestly, I have provided a report, and that was pre-COVID, I believe. And so we are just in the process of doing several things based upon the COVID emergencies that are being declared by the governor. I'm guessing in the next couple of days we'll see some new executive orders come out which will affect pharmacy. We get a lot of questions about some of these things, so I believe background checks will be waived. There will be some other waivers in that executive order that I'm not 100% sure if they selected everything I provided or not. So just be on the lookout. If you look at the COVID-19 website, those items will be on there. Appreciate everyone's hard work during this time. I know it could get ugly before it gets better in some of your cases, and some of you maybe don't have as much work. So it's the strangest time I think we've ever been in. So hang in there. Thanks for taking care of the people of South Dakota, and you can certainly read my update.
Thank you, Carrie, for providing that. All right, any other business from membership for us to discuss at this time? Okay, seeing and hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
This is Haley, so moved.
All right, how about Jordan? I saw you unmute yourself.
I did, yes. Second.
All right, all those in favor? Thumbs up. Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned. Well, thank you guys for attending today, and thanks for sticking with us through the digital medium. Have a good rest of your day.